Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth from WVU Extension Service Family Nutrition Program, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to demonstrate for you a recipe that's called zucchini pizza casserole. And who doesn't like a casserole? And in the summertime, we sure do have a lot of extra zucchini that it seems like we need to do a whole lot of things with, and this casserole is something that you'll enjoy and your family will come back for seconds. So what I've done first of all is I have washed my hands and I have washed all my produce. And then I've gathered all the ingredients that are on the recipe card. You should have a recipe card for this zucchini pizza casserole. There's only 10 ingredients. So I have all my ingredients set out, I've washed my hands, and I've preheated my oven behind me. So the first thing with this recipe with zucchini is very watery. So you shred your zucchini. You can use probably a grater would be the easiest thing to shred your zucchini with. You leave the skin on, and I have it in a bowl here, but it's very watery as you can see. So your salt will be put on your zucchini in a colander, and you drain it just for a few minutes. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to have you join me over at the stove, and then we're going to fry up our beef that is in our casserole. So after I put this in here, we're just going to drain all that water out of about 4 cups of zucchini that you'll see listed in your recipe. And I'll take just only a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to sprinkle it over the zucchini, and that will draw the water out. We're going to let it sit in this colander just for a bit so it can draw all that water out, because we don't want real watery zucchini whenever we put it in the casserole. So I'm going to let this drain in my sink. The dish that I have chosen today is just something I'm sure we all have in our kitchen, just a 13 by 9 casserole dish. So that's what we're going to put it in as soon as we're ready. But we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to fry up our beef, and then you can join me there. All right, so what I've done here is I've browned our ground beef. It's a pound of ground beef. I've browned it in the skillet, and I've chunked it up. The other ingredients I have over here is an onion. I had half of an onion, so I have chopped the onion, and I'm going to add that in with our beef mixture into our skillet. Stir that around, and while that's cooking a little bit more, you just have to make sure your onions are translucent. A medium red pepper. You can use green pepper, orange pepper, red pepper. My family happens to like red peppers, so I use them a lot. You dice them up as well. After you take the seeds out of your pepper, you cut it in strips that look like this, and then you just cut the strips into diced pieces. Just with a chef's knife makes it pretty easy. Always being careful with your knife and keeping the blade of your knife always on your cutting board. So here's our pepper. That's about a medium pepper. So this has had a chance to cook up some. So we have our ground beef, our onion. I'm going to go ahead and put our red pepper in with our onion and our beef. Add that. And then another ingredient is your tomato sauce, your Italian sauce. So, and I'm just going to put that in as well, and just let that cook and simmer just for a few minutes. My zucchini has set in the sink for 10 minutes, and a lot of the water that was in it has come out. So the next step of what we do with our ingredients is we take our shredded zucchini. I'm just going to press it with my spoon in the colander just a little bit to get as much of that water out of the zucchini as I can. I'm going to put it in my bowl. The other ingredients that I'm going to add with my zucchini are the 2 eggs. So I'm going to add those in with the zucchini. Then our cheeses. I've got some shredded cheddar cheese. I'm going to put a full cup of the cheddar cheese in there. A half a cup of Parmesan cheese, because remember, it is pizza casserole. And then I'm just going to put, out of the 2 cups, I'm only just going to put about a half of this, which is a cup. I'll put that in, and I'm going to leave the rest of that probably for the top of our casserole. So I'm just going to stir this up in our bowl with the zucchini. Get it stirred with the eggs and the cheese. Our shredded zucchini. And then I'm going to take my 13x9 pan, and I have lightly greased it on the bottom with a little bit of cooking spray just so things won't stick. So after I get this good and mixed, I'm going to press it into the bottom of my casserole dish. So we'll put this in here. All the cheese and zucchini. And I'm just going to press it, and it's going to make a crust. And we're going to bake this for 20 minutes. As soon as we get that all pressed down in the bottom of our 13x9 casserole dish. So it looks kind of like this. So I'm going to put it in the oven back here, and I'm going to bake it for 20 minutes. Okay, I pulled it out of the oven. We cooked our crust on the bottom, which consisted of some of our cheese, our zucchini, and our eggs. So I'm going to take our beef mixture that we put the pepper and the onion in, and I'm just going to spread it on top of our crust. And then we saved back half of our mozzarella cheese and some of our cheddar cheese, and we're going to top our casserole with some cheese. So I'm going to take the other half of our mozzarella and then the other portion of our shredded cheddar cheese. And then we're going to return this to the oven that's already heated. We're going to return it for another 20 minutes. So here we go, zucchini pizza casserole. It might just become one of your family's favorites. Thanks for joining me.